What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Jay Rich, back to bring you your MLB props for June the 15th. We had a pretty good day yesterday. I recommended Jake Cronenworth, Jose Ramirez, Yordan Alvarez was another one. 2 hits, 1 guy pushed. Feel pretty good about it overall, though. So looking back to get more into it today, we'll see some Jose Ramirez today because that man is on a mission. He's on fire right now. Came through. But what I want to dive into first is the weather reports heading into today's game, because there's some interesting weather that I want to dive into right now. And so let's go back to Kevin Ross' weather report that he does for Roto Grinders. Chicago, winds are blowing out up to 20 miles per hour. If you did want to game stack San Diego and Chicago, it's looking really good right now. We saw San Diego put up 12 runs yesterday on the Cubs. The Cubs put up runs of their own. Wilson Contreras hit 2 home runs. So there's lots of things to like in that game environment. And on top of that, Pittsburgh and St. Louis, hot, humid, winds out to left. Very nice hitting weather where we saw Paul Goldschmidt hit 3 home runs yesterday. 1 in game 1 where I told you guys I had the bomb call, and 2 in the second game. Great day for Paul Goldschmidt yesterday. Probably going to see more of the same. He does have an 8.5 total. If you do want to take it, I don't mind it overall. I think he's in a great spot to smash again today. And you see not a whole lot of weather reports. Kansas City, some winds blowing out, but it's not going to be a big factor. And then you see we should see roughly 1 pop-up in the entire general area, and it's unlikely to end up over the ballpark, and this is in regards to the Atlanta-Washington matchup. So not a ton of issues for the weather as far as the day goes, but some interesting weather patterns that could be conducive to some really good overs today. But let's get into the actual plays themselves. Starting with Jose Ramirez, Byron Buxton, Austin Hayes, Kyle Schwarber, who will probably be playing by the time you watch this video. But don't worry about that. I'm not all in on Kyle Schwarber today, but he did just make it into the model plays. Randy Rosarina, Pete Alonso, and Jake Cronenworth, as I mentioned. I'm not going to bury the lead here. Jose Ramirez, even with a 9-point total, I still like him a lot. I mean, yesterday he just absolutely demolished Colorado. Doubles, he's stealing bases, drawing walks, scoring runs, 3 RBIs. Like, there's not a lot that there isn't to like with Jose Ramirez. He can literally do it all. He can hit home runs, and he's in a better matchup today against Austin Grover than he was in the last game. I think there's a really real world where Jose Ramirez does it again. He's only projected for 9. He's in a great ballpark, obviously playing in Colorado. I like him again. I talked about how last time he scored a run and got an RBI in 4 of his last 5. Now it's 5 of his last 6 because he did it again last night. He's favored much more heavily to do that today because I did take the parlay yesterday and I took it again today. So I'm liking a lot of what I'm seeing from Jose Ramirez, and I think there's a lot of good things to see. I would be building on Jose Ramirez. If you want to add in Rosario to those plays, he played really well yesterday as well, but he didn't hit the 70% threshold that I like to see. It was only Jose Ramirez, and even with that 9-point total, still number 1 on the slate. Then let's get into Byron Buxton, who I said I wasn't all in on yesterday. Just didn't think the matchup was right. But up against Marco Gonzalez today, I much prefer it. You see he bats 400, 2 for 5 against Marco Gonzalez with a home run, which I love to see. And I think it's a favorable matchup for all the hitters in Minnesota, or for Minnesota today. Carlos Correa has been really hot. Luis Arraez has been really hot, but they really did get stifled yesterday, but I don't think that's going to happen again today. Marco Gonzalez is a much worse pitcher, and I think he's in much better shape to go over. He does have a total of 8, which is pretty high, but Byron Buxton is a guy who can steal bases, hit home runs. There's lots of ways he can get involved, and he doesn't bat or he's projected to bat first, but oftentimes he's been batting second, so he can get some RBI opportunities as well. But you can see here, almost an extra base hit per game, at the same rate as Jose Ramirez. Actually, he's been on fire lately, so I do like Buxton in this matchup with that BVP edge up against Marco Gonzalez, and I would be willing to play him with Jose Ramirez, but do be mindful these guys have extremely high totals, and so the chance of them going over is a little lower, but they are definitely worth the risk because they are extremely high-end plays. Now, talking about Austin Hayes, has been a player that has actually made it to my short list quite often lately. He's been okay, 7.67 for the season, 8.8 over the last 14 because he was playing a little bit better, and regressing back down to the mean a little bit, but up against Jose Berrios, who, for better or worse, has not been very good this season. We thought he turned it around when he played against Minnesota. Minnesota had 13 strikeouts, but he didn't quite make it happen. He still got a 1-2-2 pitch factor. He pitched really great against Detroit, who is god-awful, but I'm not sure if he's going to be able to show up against the Baltimore Orioles today. I'm not all in on Hayes. Again, he's only got a 5.5 total. So if you want to run the risk, I do think there's a world where they do go over. Baltimore's been playing extremely well in Toronto. You know, they got after Kikuchi yesterday. They could do the same today. Everyone in Baltimore has really high totals. Cedric Mullins, Trey Mancini, Ryan Mountcastle had a massive day yesterday. So if you want to go after Hayes, I don't hate it. I don't think it's the way I would go. I think I would stick with the top two, but I don't mind it overall if that's the way you want to go. Then skipping over Schwarber because, again, he's probably already playing by the time you play him, and I don't love the matchup against just kind of overall. It's a little bit an unknown with Castano. I tried to figure out more information about him, but I'm not sure if he's going to be the opener or if he's going to be pitching for a while. So I think I'm just going to stay away from it overall. Philly is in a great spot. Obviously, Philly-Miami was a massive game. It was like 12-10 or 13 to a like ridiculous amount of runs yesterday in Philly. So I don't mind it overall. I do think it's a great opportunity, but I'm just staying away from that game. And again, it's part of the early slate, so you're probably not going to see it anyways, so no reason to go too much deeper into it. Now getting into Randy Rosarina in New York. Again, we took him yesterday. I talked about him yesterday, but I don't believe he hit yesterday. I know he did have a single, but he didn't get anything beyond that. They just got, they got honestly messed up by Garrett Cole. He pitched so well, but today up against Nestor Cortez, dude with one of the lowest ERAs in the majors, up against Tampa Bay. You see Rosarina doesn't fare well against Cortez, never got a hit off him. He's pitching extremely well. 5.5 total is reasonable. That's why he's making this list overall. And you can see over his last 7 days, he's still 12.17, so not bad, pretty good for Rosarina so far. I just don't think I want to go there, right? Like, I just don't think I want to mess with that. And so I'm not going to be playing him. And then you go to Pete Alonso, kind of the same story, up against Corbin Burns, a dude who could strike out 14 guys any game. As good as Pete's been, 12 over his last 14 over his last 7, I'd be willing to flex this. If you're saying you want to play Jose Ramirez, Byron Buxton, and maybe flex in a Pete Alonso, I'm willing to take that risk because I think he's worth it. He hits 500 off of Corbin Burns. He's been hitting him pretty well. And obviously, Pete himself has been playing really well. The issue is the rest of the Mets. The rest of the Mets have not been playing as well. They haven't been getting on base. Francisco Lindor is struggling. Marte is kind of regressing back a little bit. Pete's the only one that's really maintained that excellence throughout the course of these past couple of weeks, as the Mets were really hot for a while, and they've been kind of coming down ever since. So I think that I'd be willing to stay away from the rest of the Mets and willing to stay away from Pete. But if you did want to throw in Pete into a flex option type of play on PrizePicks, I don't hate it. And then, of course, Jake Cronenworth, I'm taking him again. Like I mentioned, winds blowing out in Chicago. 13.14 over his last 7, back-to-back 3-hit games. He's just getting on base. He's scoring runs. He's not necessarily going to hit a home run, but he's got a... If there's any day he could hit one, though, today is the day. So I do like Cronenworth quite a bit. I think he's in a great spot. If it was me, I'd probably mix and match Ramirez, Buxton, and Cronenworth. And then if you wanted to run a flex play of Ramirez, Buxton, Cronenworth, and Alonso, I think that's worth the risk. I'm probably staying away from Hayes, Schwarber, and a Rosarina. But these are the guys who popped in the model. So as always, if you tail, give them hell. And if we fail, do not bail. These are the hitter fantasy scores on PrizePicks that we will be betting. Make sure you mix and match your plays and drop me a like and subscribe for future content if you love what I do for you almost every day. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you make some money today based off these plays. And if there's anything else you like, make sure to drop it in the comments and I can try and get back to you about some more information about those. Or if you just have some more questions, feel free to let me know. I'll see you guys tomorrow. I'm out. Peace.